Hey, 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 welcome back. Welcome back to the Virgo channel. My name is Laura. If you're new to the channel, I'm going to do a general message for Virgo. Know that energy is fluid. Roles could be reversed. Interpret the message as it best resonates with you. Don't mind me. I have OCD, so I won't be able to deal with that at all, with it not lined up. And I couldn't tell how it was lined up because it doesn't show like in the beginning. So, all right, that's better. Even though it's not 100%, when I have OCD. So again, I like everything to look a certain way. That's actually also a trauma response, understand? Because there's no such thing as perfect. We shoot for excellence. And what I notice is that readings tend to take on the energy of whatever just happen. Like spirit is always talking to us, is what I'm trying to say, through everything and everyone all the time. It's just a lot of times we don't like what spirit is saying. So, on this channel, I like to try to figure out why everything's happening the way that it is. Because when you're dealing with a karmic, any karmic, and every relationship is karmic, we tend to associate the real difficult connections, like the people that we're connected to that are manipulative, that have a lot of blockages, that project a lot of their issues, their baggage, onto us. We associate those people with karmic, but every single relationship has the potential to teach us. So every relationship is karmic. It's just we know about those karmic mates because they have the power to really take us off our path, to make us feel a certain way. And see, when we're whole, no one should be able to make us feel anyway. So these readings like to look at the spiritual blocks, the shadows, and see how they play out as karmic themes. Hey, Annette, happy equinox. And so, you know what? During this time, there was something like retrograde in every single planet, as well as there's 2 eclipses this month, not 1, but 2. So understand there's a lot of shifts happening right now. And I only know that because I do a TV show every Tuesday night, and I had a guest on that does astrology, and she was sharing that every single planet is going through retrograde. Not just Venus. So any karmic that comes back into your life, be careful. Don't sign any contracts. Understand, as soon as something can be coming into your life, it can leave your life. That's what it usually means. All right. Now let's see what the word of the video is. For those of you that are new to my channel, I like to always pick a card that tells me the underlying energy, that tells us why everyone's doing what they're doing. Very important when you're dealing with people that wear masks, create facades, because we're like, okay, we feel one way, but we can definitely see that they're doing something else. Their words and their actions don't line up. So we're like, why are they doing what they're doing? Fanatical is one word. And fanatical, a lot of times you can think of that as like a positive thing, but I feel like in this situation, it's not. Fanatical is somebody that's very controlling, someone that can actually be very manic in, what they want to, whatever it is, when we're going to see what it is. But obviously, when it has to do with you, it's not good because it's obsessive. It's obsessive behavior, and it's because you're making them feel powerless. That's what's going on right now. So the underlying energy is that we see actually you acting like you don't care. And I'm not saying that you don't care, but whatever you're showing this person, and they're like becoming more and more and more obsessive about why are you acting like you don't care. So it's almost like the power, like you took the power away from this person, where I feel like for a very long time, they felt very in charge. And that happens a lot of times when we're with somebody that we really have feelings for. We do go into the relationship being like, well, I want to treat you the way that I want to be treated. And I feel like you did that for a certain amount of time. But unfortunately, with this person, they needed to earn before you gave them that benefit of the doubt. Because the whole time, like, whenever you had a problem, whatever it was, this person never showed up, and they don't show up. They're never even accountable. All the blame for the relationship went on you. And that's because I feel like you wouldn't settle for breadcrumbs, number one. You also wouldn't settle for being disrespected. See, this person is used to being able to do what they want to do, when they want to do it, how they want to do it. And listen, well, look, but it's not really, it's important to understand that I feel like this person was raised by a narcissist, is a narcissist, because they don't take the blame for anything. They didn't see, everything's your fault all the time. It's like you should be allowed to almost like they should be allowed to do what they want to do. And that's because, like I said, I feel like they were raised by one person that was a narcissist, and maybe a mama that like didn't ever hold them accountable for anything. So like this person has no balance at all. And they would expect you to live that way, in balance. So in order for them to feel more superior, and you called their bluff, because you were like, oh, you really don't think that I'm gonna do it. And I feel like because you put up with a lot, you gave this person second chances, third chances. There was a strong connection. And a lot of times it's not even because of you. It's because in the past, this person got away with a lot. And it started with their mother. It started with their father. It started with whoever, was overcompensating for the fact that they were in a bad relationship, didn't get what they needed. So they, didn't hold this person accountable. So they raised themselves. And being that they raised themselves, it's like, I want to do what I want to do when I want to do it. And you should just tolerate it. And people got them to do it. So what happened is, like, you had a feeling that they were cheating. Well, and that's what happens over time when a person like is not respecting you and you're asking for the minimum. What you saw was they were emotionally not available. Every time there was a problem, and the problems actually are supposed to help grow intimacy, really. Because when you work through a problem with someone that you love, you become closer. You build trust. Every chance this person got, they like violated the connection. And because of that, it's like the more that you would ask them to like show up for you or just be there in the relationship, the more resentful they got. And then they would do it and act like, well, I'm doing it. But then you were like, yeah, but you're doing it. But because you're doing it, you're punishing me. Now you're cheating. You're talking to other people. So if you're giving me anything, it's only because you're doing fucked up stuff behind my back. You're either talking about me, you're sleeping with other people, and it's not like they're building connection with those people. They're just using them to avoid you, so that it puts you in a position of feeling disempowered, like feeling less than. And so obviously it's going to make you feel resentful, because you're like, I'm asking for the bare minimum. This is a person that doesn't know how to communicate, and they don't want to communicate because they don't want to be judged. So they avoid. So the relationship all becomes about that. It's one big drama over time. And people put up with that for a certain amount of time because they invest. What you see is that what this person's doing, they're lazy. Now, part of that is because they created a lot of drama and they expected things to play out a certain way. And hey, they didn't play out that way because you're not like everyone else. Normally, this person either doesn't care after a while. It's like, yeah, I betray you, but, I get over you. Like, I'll meet someone else. I'll replace you. That didn't happen. Or the person comes back. The person, again, has a connection to them also. And they, so they've never really had to face the music before. So being that you're making them do that, there's resentment on their part because they don't want to be. Remember, because they have a self-image to maintain. And what you're doing is like you're ripping that off, and you have a lot of control, and not because you have control like in the physical realm, but because there's a spiritual connection, there's a past life connection. They don't understand why. Again, they're not used to this type of connection. Like I said, normally you would have been replaced by now. You would have been, it wouldn't have been a big deal like for them. But it's, again, there's a connection, and this person has a fear of change. And part of that fear of change is just not being seen the way that they want to be seen, their identity. And that happens when a person doesn't know who they are, when they haven't created themselves. They have to hold on to the persona of who they want you to perceive that they are. Otherwise, they're afraid that you're going to see them the way that they really truly see themselves. And so being in a connection with them, you would have to kind of take the back seat, be subservient. You'd be going back to 1934, where everyone plays a certain role, and that's not really who you are. And the irony is, I feel like this person's connected to you and it's so intrigued by you because you're not like that. It's but that's what a narcissist will do. A narcissist will come into a connection that they admire the person. They see everything that person has and want to become a part of it. And it puts that person on a pedestal and then becomes somebody else. And because they're jealous, because they haven't created enough of who they are. So again, what did I say? It would be jealous. You would wind up being in competition with this person. And it's you're not in competition, but this person makes everything into a competition. That's why they stonewalled you. You're going to become subservient to what I want. You're going to cave to me because we have a past life connection. And they might not have said because we have a past life connection, but they can feel because we have a connection and I can feel how much you care about me. And you were like, well, I can feel how much you care about me too. I just don't understand why it looks the way that it looks. And the way that it looks is because this person is very impulsive and they have spiritual blocks. So they get triggered all the time. And when a person has spiritual blocks and they get triggered all the time, they're not aware, this person's not aware, they react from those impulses. And so, you're going to see a lot of issues such as paranoia. You're going to see manipulation. You're going to see that they judge you, but if you say anything to them that you're judging them, even though you're not, you're going to see money problems. Their money issues are going to look like a roller coaster. That is going to be, it's a real second chakra imbalance. And the reason why is because there's addictions. So the person doesn't show up for themselves. So it's not that this person doesn't have feelings for you. It's that they don't trust themselves because there's no balance in their life. So they have to enter into a relationship that's more like a contract where whoever is going to be with them actually volunteers to put themselves in a place of disempowerment by giving up their voice. And really, the only person that's going to do that is a person that feels like they're not enough. This person is actually that feels like they don't have enough. And in order for them to feel enough, they have to live in their old habits. They have to change. They don't want to change. They don't want to. They're very fearful. And that's the problem when you have the person that's spiritually sick driving the relationship. The relationship is not going to go anywhere because everything is dictated by what kind of day they have. And their day depends on who triggers them, what goes on in their life, and how you're making them feel. Because here it is, you're someone of balance. You may not have any passion in your life, enough passion. And passion is not just about in the bedroom, but it's about passion for life. And so because of that, everything else is in alignment. You seem stable, work, this, that. This person's not stable because, again, they avoid. Their money issues look like a roller coaster. And that's because, again, when you check out because you are continuously getting triggered, which means that you're getting angry, you're getting you feel jealous, you feel like you're in competition because this person doesn't know who they are. So the more that you know who you are, well, now they're going to make it you feel as if it's your responsibility to get them out of their uncomfortable place, and then they're also going to put themselves in competition with you because they're not going to want to be subservient to you. So you have a slew of really negative behaviorisms here because this person is coming from a place of lack, fear. They have fear of change. So it is a real past life karmic mate that you would inherit a lot of issues because issues come with a karmic contract, where it's, again, you'd almost have to take on the martyr role to be with them. And that's not the energy. And otherwise, this person is going to betray you because they're empty. And so it would require a continuously like having to forgive them, which you're not going to do because they feel inadequate, and is all to save their image. Everything goes back to their image. And that's the mask. So you look good for me, and I would like to utilize your energy for everything that I could utilize it for. I'm attracted to you. I am passionate for you. I like everything about you, but it's fragmented. They haven't taken the time to actually build a connection because they've been too busy trying to knock you down to be in that connection. And are they aware of this? No, that's the problem. They don't understand. They have feelings. They don't understand why the relationship's so difficult. They just know that you're not going to put up with anything that's, and over time, this spiritual connection isn't staying positive anymore. It's getting corroded with bitterness and resentment because this person really holds on to a lot of shame. The more that they hold on to shame, the more that they're going to sabotage the connection. So, I mean, we'll look to see whether they're going to come back. But I mean, at this point, it's not even important if they came back because they need to do a lot of healing, and you're not supposed to just sit there and wait for a person. But they do have feeling for you, but it's so fragmented, and what they were taught was okay and what they're used to. Healing doesn't feel good. If codependency is you always have someone to pick up your mess, to clean up your mess. When you become not codependent, you realize that you have to do it yourself. And that's the thing. This person doesn't want to have to figure it out. They don't want to. They like to feel superior. They want to mirror that back. And that's fine, but it requires to be with a certain type of person. And that person would be someone of your caliber, but someone that also didn't know their own worth, is what we know. It's like they long for your kisses and your touch. Well, passion is always going to be there. Again, that's not the problem. This person will have you fooled to think that this is enough for a connection, or how much I desire you. No, because they haven't connected. That's what makes it a karmic. It's again, and that's why it's everything that you look like, everything that you appear. Because just like you, they're always doing some form of mission that they feel like their energy and their wisdom supports those around them. So again, they feel like you do the same thing. You're out in your community. You would look good for me. See, you may think that this person's a good person because they do all that. And that's a thing, but that's how they attract people and get people to perceive that they're a good person. A lot is about their self-image. So if it's going to make them look good, I wish I could say what I really feel. Someday I will, but right now I'm afraid to be myself. And there is no self. That's why they're afraid to be vulnerable. They're afraid to because their relationships don't work out, but their relationships don't work out because this is the way that they conduct their relationships. They're still living from this place of being a spoiled kid because daddy was manipulative or was abusive, or mommy was. So you have to just go along with this because I'm going to be charming and I'm going to be all that. But underneath it all, there is no substance to them. That's why it's important that they're with someone that's substance, that looks like their substance, that can play the part, that's going to make them look better. Because of you, I'm starting to see what's really important in my life. Again, from a very ego perspective, I would say, though, it's not that they don't feel like they have feelings for you. They do. They just haven't done the work. And we do look and see what they feel because That's what's driving. Surrender brings us together faster than resistance. And so it's, again, they know that they're the ones that are actually resisting the connection, because part of them wants everything to be their way and has wanted things to be their way for a very long time. I'm changing this pattern and moving forward, and that's because they're not getting any result. So this person is like going to make some changes. They feel like they don't deserve your love, and they're worried you'll leave them when they see who I really am. See, this is the block right here, because there is no sense of self. So what there is was a lot of manipulative, again, of creating illusions and facades. And this person didn't know that. They were living from their habits, so their addictions, it was like party time. Nothing's important. What's important is my needs get met. Relationships don't really happen. I don't really want this type of relationship. It's, again, this person really cared a lot about what things look like because it started off, but underneath it all, when there really is feelings, it's this is the issue. It's this person's changing. However, does it mean that it's smooth sailing? No. Spirit says, it says past lives are influencing your connection, and that they've lost you in a past life, and they're afraid of losing you again, and that they know that they need to heal the grief to allow the love to bloom that they haven't. So it's, again, that's why there's this familiar energy, and you didn't put up with it in a past life. Do they know this? Are they aware of this? No. They just know that the spiritual connection, and that they feel this loss. And it's a huge loss, and they don't really understand that, because that doesn't happen to them. Again, here for a good time, not a long time. If things are usually my way, if you don't become subservient, I replace you. It's not really that big of a deal. It is a big deal, is what they're seeing. They're uncomfortable. They don't like it. I feel our energy merging together as if it has a life of its own. We are becoming one again. So this person keeps leaving, keeps trying to break, but what they're seeing is, I don't have any control over this. So it's, again, and that's because it is a divine union. Like I started this reading, I said every person has the potential to step it up to twin flame. It's a choice, but understand, a lot of times it's not a conscious choice. It's that spirit makes your life a living hell until, like, you do, where it's like the person actually has an epiphany, like, oh, wait a minute, you're someone that's important. But that is so in their ego, and they're so in. And so I feel like you met this person when they were really in their ego, like really an asshole, like just really thought who they were. And you weren't putting up with it. You didn't play the game the way that they thought that you were going to play it. So again, that then they still played a lot of games, but what they see is, at the end of the day, that they can't really manipulate, destroy, or do anything, because the energy still is energy, that it's of love. Our mission is to become unconditional love. Clearing our programming is a necessary part of opening our hearts. So again, the potential to become the twin flame, but needs to heal those patterns, a lot of sabotaging behaviorism. So that's the problem. Does this person really want to do it? They don't really want to surrender to it, but they know that they have to. It's again, it's almost like the good against the bad. And it's comfortable to stay in our habits, to stay in our ego, to create the illusions. It takes courage to become vulnerable, especially if you grew up with a narcissist for a parent, especially if you were like really taught not to trust, because even though that parent didn't really like let them get away with everything, the one parent that wasn't abusive, they still didn't trust that parent, because that parent stayed in a narcissistic connection with someone that didn't make them feel safe. So they were conditioned in an environment to not trust. To the first connections were betrayal. And I believe that they've just carried that pattern into every single connection. So every connection looks like this. So they normally got to the place where they've disconnected and said, well, I don't really need to be in a connection. Like I can get my needs met. I'll live fragmented. It's fun to hook up with people. They tell me how great I am. It fills my ego. It makes me feel. So they've never had a connection like this before. It's like they don't have control. And that makes them feel like, again, like this is a control freak. So it's like they don't like it. There's a lot of different emotions and energies that this person is going through. So words have hurt me in the past, and that's why I fear talking to you. It's again the first connection. So again, growing up with a narcissist, we all know that we can't talk to them. And then being in relationships where you were kind of taught to lie, taught to. So it's again, this person like would make the relationship very difficult because they won't communicate. So they have to do that in order to be with you. I'm beginning to focus on my mission, and our connection is part of that. So this person, like, I feel like is better in like business, is better with like things of the physical realm. And so you might be doing something, they might see how they could help, or because again, I feel like why when they look at you, they feel like you're a part of their mission, that you're supposed to do something. Now that's intuitive. That's more of a claircognizance thing, which is I don't know how I know, but I just know. And that's because it's a divine connection. So we have that clairsentient, and it turns into claircognizance when we use that psychic ability a lot. I feel it, and then you just know it. That's what mediumship is built on. And so the more that we navigate from those that way, there is a very strong spiritual connection here. This person has tried to break the connection. They've tried to walk away from it. They've tried to do a lot of things. They can't do it. They're realizing that surrender, obviously, they would get the right result if they surrendered. They have to surrender, but that means that they have to do healing. They have to, again, and that's how spirit does it. This is not a voluntarily thing. This is actually a very slow process also, that you feel like the person's like traveling around the world on a donkey that has 3 legs. That's how slow that it feels like. I wish you could see that we are mirroring each other right now, because I feel like they can feel your frustration. They can feel your frustration, ESP through the heart and mind. That's the whole thing. They can feel that your energy is around them. It's like, as they know, but they haven't done the right thing. I want to know everything about you, but I hold myself back from asking. I'm afraid I'll get in too deep, which is a problem for them. It's like, as you surrender your 3D expectations, I surrender to our 5D connection. So even though that there is this spiritual psychic connection, I'm not going to put that much value into it. Why? Because I have a lot of spiritual blocks here. So I live more from survival. And what I know is what I see is what I believe, just the facts, which, by the way, you're going to get the most shittiest results in a relationship when you come from that perspective. It's going to be very cold. It's going to be very distant. This person's very good in business, but as far as like the heart, no. So they're like, oh, you're going to expect me to be like this person and that person, when meanwhile they don't like who they are. They don't think that they're good enough for you. So again, out of balance, imbalance. So you'd have to expect actually nothing. Well, and the twin flame connection, usually the irony is you do love this person unconditionally. You don't like what they do, because of their fear of their own inadequacies, does not mean that you should settle for less. That's the issue in the connection, and that's what they're having to awaken to. But they're seeing, like, again, like, it's that there is clearly, but it always goes back to, I daydream about you. Sometimes it's sexual. Other times I visualize our future together. So this person imagines it. I feel like they're manifesting you back, whether they want to know it or not, because how do you manifest? Through the thoughts that you think, the emotions that you have. It's just this person doesn't really know how to come back. All they know is that their heart is opening to love and guiding them back to you. So you know, they feel the chemistry between you, and they need to trust that the energy that you both share will make them come back. But understand they, like, I don't know if they know this either, but from a spiritual perspective, spirit says you're all experiencing, like everyone's experiencing like a larger collective clearing. So you guys are not alone. There's a lot of other people, like twin flame connections, that the person has a shit ton of negative behaviorisms, which you saw. You said, I'm not dealing with it. You left. They thought, oh, I'll replace you, no big deal. You know, I tried to deal with things the same way that they always did. Can't, doesn't understand why, resists it till they can no longer resist it anymore, because the feelings are still there. And realizing that, again, that this is like a spiritual connect, that they're looking, why would you be in my life? Well, I see we can do something together, work, like our mission. We'll do something together. There has to be, again, very logical, very analytical, still not surrendering their heart, though, is what we see. So a lot of them in their mind trying to work through things. I'm going through a dark night of the soul, and nothing in my life is making sense, because this shit doesn't make sense, is what they're saying. This is part of it, because normally I'm the person in charge, and now I'm finding myself trying to leave my comfort zone with this issue, and like it's like, and I've never wanted to do that before. I've never wanted to change, and spirit's sneaky. Spirit says, I know what you need more than you know what you need, and you're not going to be in charge of this. You're not going to be able to manipulate. You have to, the whole point that the universe does is says, my job is to help restore your energy back to the energy of unconditional love. That includes this person. And they're all over the place. They have a lot of spiritual blocks. Again, they're realizing this connection is something worth special and treasuring. It's again, but it was a very slow process. It's like it wasn't a natural process. It was a lot of that. The universe brought us together for a reason. I'm discovering what the reasons are. I've been so grounded all my life, though it's hard for me to trust the spiritual element of this connection, yet I can't deny that they exist. So it's like it doesn't logically make sense. I changed my whole entire life for you. The fuck is going on here? It's like, who are you to come into my life and do this? Got to be witchcraft. It's got to be. There's got to be a reason. And then again, I tried to look for negative things about you. But everybody likes you. I tried to look, and I can't find anything. So it's, again, what we see is that it's not a natural process for them, that it's a lot of resisting. But spirit says, I always win. The universe says, I always win. Like, it doesn't matter. The person is just going to, like, waste a lot of time. And then it's going to feel a lot worse because they wasted a lot of time. And, you know, it just makes it more difficult. I wanted to send you a message today, but I was afraid to. I don't know if you want to hear from me or if I can say the right things to you. So again, this person is like slowly, like I said, you can see like the donkey, like just slowly, like any day now. Any day. That's where they are. Our love is externally, exists in every dimension, and it can't be lost. And that's what they're realizing. It. They're like by now I should have fucked this up enough that I shouldn't have feel your connection around me, and I still do. And and I still have feelings. Like, even though I was mad and I feel all these emotions, at the end of the day, I still have these feelings. So it's, again, learning what unconditional love is. I'd long ago shut down those parts of me that wanted love and romance and intimacy, but you make me long for those things again. It's again, so what they're seeing is, I actually want it. I don't really want it, but it's like, I want it. And it's because they're seeing things through a different perception. It's not that they're not afraid. They are. They're used to doing things their way. It doesn't mean that they don't have a lot of spiritual blocks. They do. And it's not like they're not all of a sudden going to become less stubborn. If you'd enter into a twin flame connection with this person, they're coming in with all this baggage. The only difference is that they're willing to compromise now. And that would require you to have to, again, be in a connection that you're constantly setting boundaries and teaching this person and dealing with their temper tantrums and dealing with the way that they deal with life a little bit until they find, and that's the twin flame connection, where a lot of it's done in separation. So I feel like this connection has been something that has been on, off, on, off, on, off. And this person is just getting to the place where they're like, I'm tired of being in this on, off connection, because nothing happens in the off. Their life looks like a roller coaster, money issues, everything, because there's no balance, because they choose to live more from this codependent surface connection that doesn't give them good relationships. With you, they were not able to do that. They just wind up gravitating back into your life. They don't know why. They thought that they were going to be able to control this whole thing. They finally came to a place of realizing, like, I can't control this. And a long time ago, I really decided I don't want to be in a relationship. I was a lot more comfortable being in the surface relationship, but you make me want to, and I don't really know why, but it scares the shit out of me, is pretty much what we're seeing here. So again, very slow process. They haven't made it to you yet, and we don't know how long it's going to take, but they're on the donkey. So it's like, and the donkey doesn't even have 4 legs. So, very slow process. And so we have to say, well, if it is a twin flame connection, what are you supposed to be doing in the process? Because in separation, a lot of healing takes place. Well, you always have free will too. You might be like, I will never be with this person. But Spirit says, I don't really care whether you're with them or not. The universe doesn't care. It says, but the lessons learned, this person's becoming a better person. For you, you would have to have still learned something. So that's why the universe always gives you free will. It says, I don't really care what you choose, but every single situation has a lesson. And if you're in it, and you were in a relationship with someone that fought this every step of the way, that made it very difficult, that still is making it very difficult, because they are an overthinker. They have a lot of spiritual blocks when it comes to love. Protection. First card out. Play. Second card out. Discipline. Third card out. Magic. Fourth card out. Not so bad. Belittled. Okay. 5. And frustration. So I do believe that you grew up like not really feeling as safe and protected from family. And I feel like it was because of emotionally, like that you were belittled. And when we're belittled by like a parent, we're being bullied, essentially. Like you're being taught not to trust that parent from a very young age, because when you're transparent, you're also being taught that it's not safe to communicate. So maybe your communication style wasn't as good also with this person, which is also helped the dynamic of the connection. So Spirit's saying, when you don't feel safe, what happens with the child? They can't run away. They go inward. They check out. It's like they go into the imagination realm. It's like they disassociate. But that's where your magic is, because that's where you're, again, co-creating with Spirit. That's where Spirit is actually protecting you, but you're also like discovering your psychic abilities, whether you know it or not. And in that imagination realm, that's when if you can imagine really well, I don't know what's going on out there. When you can imagine really well, you can create. You can manifest well. That's what the magic is. And there really is, if you can imagine it, you can create it, right? Because There's a part of you that can actually go into that world, and that happened because you didn't feel safe. It's again, so that also meant that you didn't really discover enough of who you are. So Spirit says, be like childlike. There's a reason why they say that. And it's because children don't say, I can't have it. I don't have it. They utilize whatever is in their environment to create who they want to become, to create the reality that they want to experience. Are they using perfect structures? No, they are not. What they're using is broken things, things that they can utilize. They're use their imagination. Say, I can use this to help me achieve my goal. And that's utilizing what's ever in their environment. Now, protection is also when we feel that we don't have protection because we didn't have mother or father. Well, Spirit says, well, I'm also your father. And the universe says, well, I'm also your mother and your father, because I'm God and I'm both. I'm a woman and I'm a man. I'm Mother Nature, and I'm also, again, that spirit. So I'm the person that actually really protects you, not your parents, because you're from me more than you're from them. You're born into your family to teach you the spiritual lessons that you need to learn. Is there a love? Yeah, a lot of times there should be, again, unconditional love. Does it always look good? No, unfortunately it doesn't. It's not going to be perfect love. Only my love is perfect, Spirit says. But you don't know what that is, and you haven't experienced it yet. Because again, someone knocked your self-esteem down. So when you were younger and you lived more internally than externally. So I need you to be like childlike now. Go out into the world because you have magic. You can, again, see the signs and the symbols that the universe brings you, because again, the universe is God. And you need to transmute that energy of frustration. Like, life is hard, life is difficult. You have to discipline yourself enough to become yourself. When children don't get the support that they need, they don't discipline. They're more focused on their emotional support and being safe and being comfortable than, actually finding themselves. Because if their parent was a bully, well, then they were going to perceive that people in the world are bullied. They're not going to feel safe enough to do that. Where Spirit says, you're supposed to be going out and becoming yourself right now. It's because when this person comes back, you would give them way too much. If you wanted to be, this person's still broken. It's not like they're not broken. It's not like you still don't have blocks. You have blocks until you actually transmute the spiritual lesson. That's why you be getting your twin flame. You transmute anger and resentment into forgiveness. You transmute guilt into another higher energy, like compassion. Like, every single spiritual block gets transmuted, but through working together with your twin. And it's because you grew up in an environment that, you weren't really taught that. You were taught, again, that the environment wasn't safe, that love, that was actually like transactional, like you had to give something, where God says, no, love is unconditional. I'm going to teach you what it looks like. And you're going to get this person that you're going to be like, what the fuck is this person? This person like does everything to trigger me. And you're going to get focused on that. But there's going to be this weird connection of, but I still have feelings for them. And Spirit says, yes, that's what unconditional love is. It's like you don't have control. You don't have control. And you're going to be paired up with someone that's completely opposite because you have blocks where they have gifts and vice versa. And the integration process comes in the fact that you both like hold ground for each other, hold space for each other, teach each other, love each other unconditionally. But you have to be strong in yourself first. And there's not enough of yourself, Spirit says, because you haven't gone out and played enough. You haven't gone out and experienced enough of life to actually find your magic, to really utilize it, that you have gifts that you don't even know about. And so that life doesn't need to be as frustrating, that there's bigger things that you're supposed to be doing in separation. This person's not having a happy time of it, but that's their karma. They shouldn't be, because they didn't act right with you. They have to come back. They have to work for it. How are they going to work for it if you're always available, Spirit's saying? And you would want to be available because there's passion. So you need to bring in another passion, Spirit says. Something that, again, is going to connect you to me, because me first, I'm a jealous God. That's through you first. That's through, again, being interactive in your passion, because then I'm helping you achieve your goal. It's, again, because only my love is going to be perfect. Only I'm going to be able to fill your cup up all the way by bringing you people, situations, experiences, opportunities that change your mind and your heart. Not this person. This person's not even on a high vibration. It's, again, they're like, you have to hold your ground. So this is my expectation. They won't be able to fight that. Yeah, they're going to throw a temper tantrum, get pissed off, leave, create all this shit, only to have to come back and humble themselves. Look stupid. And that's the problem now. They look stupid. And they're like, oh, I got to like come back with my tail between my legs, and I've got to, like look stupid. It's like, be somebody that I haven't never been, that I'm afraid to be. This isn't comfortable for me. And Spirit says, well, that's your karma, tough shit. Now you over there, you should be having a good old time with yourself, because you want this person to come back and see what they're missing. There's a lot to miss here. It's, again, they already know it, but if you're having a good time in your life, well, now this really going to piss them off. And that's what we want, Spirit says. We have to trigger their ego. We have to make their ego work for our benefit. And because, again, you have to make that person surrender their ego to bring them to me. And God says, all I am is unconditional love, the energy of the universe. And you're bringing them to me, to unconditional love. They don't want to do that. So Spirit says, so it's all about you releasing control by not trying to control this person, but controlling yourself, because it's second chakra imbalance. I need them to be this way, Spirit says. They're going to be this way, but not by you telling them to be this way, by you having a good old time in your life. Again, by you being like, I'm over here and you're going to be replaced any minute now, because I'm having a good time over here and you're not. So, because they're uncomfortable, they have to change. They have to come back. They have to surrender their ego. They don't want to do that. Their self-image is everything. Oh, without that self-image, who are they? They're not sure you're going to like them, because they don't like themselves. So that's the issue. But Spirit says this is not, there's a reason why, that this connection is actually happening, to help find harmony within. And that's when the body, mind, and spirit is all integrated, that all facets of a person. What we see here is a lot of fragmentation. So Spirit's saying, I'm trying to heal you both in the areas. This person, again, they're not comfortable in healing, but you can have a good time healing. You should be having a good time healing. You might say, I have a hard time having a good time. And Spirit says, yeah, I know, because you were belittled growing up. So, healing doesn't feel good. You might say, now I got to go out and have fun. How am I going to fit that into my schedule? And Spirit says, oh, like you're having a hard time. This is why you pull people to you that don't know how to have a good time, that aren't going to show you a good time, that it's all work. Look how you're treating yourself. Spirit says, you have to integrate that, even though I don't see the point of it. It doesn't logically make sense. And Spirit says, do children do what makes sense? No. It's, again, I'm asking you to go out and have fun, to find yourself, to become yourself, to face your fears. Because you too, what if I don't like it? What if it doesn't? What if it doesn't? What if it doesn't? Spirit says it's part of the grand journey. The good and the bad. It's about integrating those parts of yourself so that you can have the infinite possibilities that await you, possibilities that you don't even think that you could have, because you don't even know who you are. Spirit saying, now, how are you going to have such a good old time and have success in your life to be like, woo, I'm having such a great time? So this person sits over there and says, I'm not having a good time. That person, why are they having a good time? They're having a good time without me. I should be right there having a good time. It's like they should be suffering because they're in separation. They're having a good time. It's so, understand, Spirit says, you're not helping. You have to do this, because they have to surrender their ego so that they come in on equal terms. They were not doing that the entire time. They're not just going to do it, Spirit says, just because you took separation. You're making them do it, Spirit says. That they don't have an option because they don't have control over the love. And but they're going to resist it every step of the way until they finally feel like it's broken, until they have to. They don't have it. Hey, Sacred Legendary and Jahal. So understand, that's why Spirit's saying is there's infinite possibilities out there for you. It's like, and it's like, if you're having such a good old time, believe me, like abundance comes to you. They had feelings for you to begin with. They don't want to see you have a better time without them. What are you kidding? They want to be able to justify why they didn't. It doesn't matter. Your life still looks like crap anyway. So Spirit says, oh yeah, this is what you think. I'm going to make sure that they have a great life. And it's going to be right underneath your nose, because we all know that you're going to be stalking because you don't know how to communicate, but you still have feelings. So you're going to be a little stalker watching this person. So we're going to put on a good show for you, Spirit says. We're going to make sure that you really love what's happening for this person. So it really brings you to your knees so that you come back crawling. Because the longer that it happens, that you decide to hold back, the more opportunities, the more attention that this person gets, the more that you know that they're not going to pick you. Spirit says. So you're not going to have a choice, the universe says, because I always win. So you can sit there and pretend that you don't care and put on the facade. You look like a dope. And that's what they say. The universe says that you're being dopey. Look how dopey you look. Because everybody knows it, including yourself. It's all about being faithful, Spirit says. Commit to your mind and heart and will that you're devoted to the needs of your own soul, to trust in yourself, in God and the universe, because the universe knows what it's doing. Spirit says all you need to do is be true to yourself. This isn't about love. This person has love. Keep getting in their own way. Keep wanting to control the connection. Keep sabotaging the connection. But they want to surrender. They don't know how. All those are behaviorisms through how they grew up and the overthinking and but Spirit says, it gets brought together in divine time, Spirit says. It's not like it doesn't. It's just that this person, has to heal themselves, and their job is going to be a lot worse than yours, because the more that you have fun, the more that they're realizing that they better get it together faster. And the more that, like I said, chances are they're going to leave you behind, that you're going to leave them behind. And that is a lot of times when the twin flame comes back. It comes back because they are going to come into your life and enhance your life with whatever gifts that they have. And being that this person is really stupid when it comes to love, we know that they have to be pretty smart when it comes to business. Again, because the twin flame is that other half. It's not that you're half a person. It's just where they flourish where you feel like you're blocked, and vice versa. And so the unconditional love allows you both to hold space, both to learn compassion for each other, that both to pretty much give everything that was never given to you both in childhood, because you did not watch that, because your parents weren't that way to each other. If anything, they were toxic towards each other. And that's what Spirit says. Both parties were just conditioned in the wrong environment, but I have to still restore them, because they feel like there's something wrong with them, and there's really nothing wrong. But this is, again, they don't volunteer. I have to be sneaky about it. I have to, trigger their ego and trigger up all those emotions, and it's really uncomfortable. And this person is really feeling it. I'm going to leave that there. Let's see. Anyone have any questions for me? Month, make me abundant. Thank you for protecting me, God and the ancestors. Yes. Mad because he fell into a thirst trap, honeypot, and got sued for. This is a pass. Since the only thing I feel like, again, it's all karmic. All the relationships are karmic, but this is a karmic, and this person does want to come back. I don't think that this is like fell into a money pot. That has been previous readings, but not this. This is more like the person has had a lot of bad relationships, grew up in a bad relationship, doesn't really learn to navigate their relationship through doing what they wanted, were able to attract like low vibe people that, you know, they were able to manipulate. They came across you, thought that they were going to play it the same way. That didn't happen. And they're still fighting it. What we see is that they're going through the process of actually awakening and surrendering, but it's a very uncomfortable process. It's focused on more about why they're doing what they're doing, which is essentially nothing. And Spirit's saying, because you're supposed to be in that healing process so that when they come back, you have other suitors that are interested, that you have a lot of other things going on in your life, that they're just an option, that they're made to feel as if they're an option, that they have to actually fight to get back into your life so that they open up their heart, because they're breadcrumbing, which means that they have a closed heart. So again, you're the one that's doing it. This is the process of the twin flame connection, why it's really hard. The twin flame connection is hard because you are making them do what they do not want to do. Because again, there's real fear there. But due to the dynamic of the connection, the twin flame, it can never be broken. It can never be, no matter what this person does, no matter what you do. You can choose to not be with them, however. But it doesn't say here, because Spirit's saying you're not going to know until you actually see this person and they actually try. You wouldn't take them back now, however, but there's a part of you that's like, I can control it too. When Spirit's saying you can't control it. The connection you can't control. However, you can go out into life and find these other infinite opportunities and be part of, you know, your life, and have this person come back and then be able to see and compare. Right now, Spirit says you have nothing to compare it to. It's again, so they seem like the best thing, but the truth of the matter is you have to make them into the best thing. Yes, they're willing to do it. That's all that the twin flame means, is that they're willing to do the actual work that they weren't willing to do before, because hey, I didn't need to. That's all that this is right now. So Spirit says you better be finding yourself, enjoying yourself, having a love affair with yourself, so when they come back in, you can set boundaries and the relationship looks completely different. It's again because you have to make that person become that person, and they'll do it with love. Why do you think most relationships looks like the way that they do? It's because they love each other. But it doesn't mean that it's an easy connection. It means that it's constant compromise. It's constant, you know, working together, where both parties were taught to be loners, to like trust nobody. So it's a very hard relationship because it's all about finding balance. So I'm going to leave that there. Telling me my story better than I. Thank you, Annette. And thank you, everybody, for joining me today. And I will be on later. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.